There's only a select few periods of time that have really just stayed in my brain and truly shaped me into the person I am today because of how much impact they had on me. And one of those periods is the very iconic feud between the biggest pop stars on the planet, Miley Cyrus and Nicki Minaj, back in 2015. And talking about 2010s pop culture is kind of my thing. I just feel very attached to that time period, and I'm not going to apologize for it. That's why it's my thing. So this was yet another topic that was just calling me to do a video on because there's so many references I make in my daily life that come from this feud alone. So this might heal me a little bit. Very important information that everyone should know about me is that I am a person that takes my internet sleuthing very seriously. Not just for work purposes, but also because I just love reading all kinds of information online. Raise your hand if you spend hours reading stuff on Wikipedia. Me too. So imagine my surprise when I go on Google and my personal information is out there for anyone to see, and I don't recall putting it there. Having my personal info out there makes me very uncomfortable, so instead of sitting here annoyed and helpless, in comes today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an all-in-one digital security that protects your personal info from being leaked online. There's a good chance you already have some kind of security tool, but not having Aura is like locking the front door but leaving the back door open. You see how that doesn't make any sense? What's great about Aura is that it gives you alerts if your personal info is found on the dark web. Aura also provides real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking and has 24/7 monitoring to keep your identity secure. You hear that? That's the sound of my identity being protected. It also comes with a secure VPN, antivirus, password manager, and a whole lot more. So essentially, Aura is your right-hand man. It will take care of you like no one else can. You can try Aura free for 14 days by going to the link in my description or go to aura.com/Aishah. That's AISHAH. Lots of people leave off the H. Thanks so much to Aura for sponsoring today's video. To understand where this feud really came from to where it makes sense for us, we need to go all the way back to 2010. Miley and Nicki were in two completely different places in terms of career and genre, but they both equally made the same amount of impact. Miley was very much still in her Hannah Montana bag and carried Disney on her back. She was the people's princess with kids being obsessed with her because of the mega success of Hannah Montana. I don't need to explain the chokehold she had on the youth because I just assume you were one of them. She had chart-topping albums, sold-out tours, the highest-rated TV show on the network, and a box office hit movie, all before she turned 18. And yes, I collected every single one of these CDs. What else was I gonna do with my allowance? So she wanted to ruffle some feathers and mature her image, but not too much. She releases her fourth album, Can't Be Tamed, along with a music video, and the public is up in arms about it because it was way too sexy for the kids. I remember watching this when it came out when I was little, and I just thought it was a little too dark, but there was nothing real bad about it, so to this day I really don't understand what all the commotion was about. We also have to mention her little weed scandal around that time that ended up not really being weed, and the leaked picture of her and Avion from Victoria's kissing in the tabloids. Now this was a crossover that no one was expecting. So it was very apparent to everyone, including Disney, that little Miley was growing up. This is also when she started dating her last song co-star Liam Hemsworth, and they were the new it couple on the block. Turning things over to Nicki, she was now fully blowing up in the music industry after sorta being underground for the past 3 years, but 2010 was huge for her. She released her debut album Pink Friday and forever changed pop, rap, and the music industry entirely.
Don't worry about me and who I fire. I get what I desire is my empire.
I promise you have never met one person on this planet that can't rap this song bar for bar without fail. Rap as a genre had been on a bit of a decline for the past 4 to 5 years, especially no one dominating female rap since the late 90s and the early 2000s. So Nicki came in with the mission to be the top dog in female rap and make a stamp on pop culture, and that she did. She was the first female rapper to be simultaneously seen as a rapper and a pop star. She did huge hit features with people like the Princess of Pop Britney Spears to rap icon Kanye. If you haven't listened to the Till the World Ends remix featuring Nicki and Kesha, I need you to go listen to it, then come back. Yeah. Your life will never be the same again. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing Nicki and her influence. Bright color lipstick, loud wigs, neon outfits. She shifted history here. And the hits from this one album alone was just top tier. 2010 was hers. There was Moment for Life with Drake.
That I could have this moment for life.
and of course super bass.
And he ill, he real, he might got a deal. He pop bottles and he got the right kind of bill.
And I won't let Did It On Him go unmentioned.
I don't need a mediator, just let them pumps blow steam. Radiator.
It may not have been a hit on the charts, but it was a hit in my home. Since the girls were in completely different sections of the industry, they didn't really cross paths like that too much, but they were very much well aware of each other, and Miley was even a huge fan of Nicki. She even dressed up as Nicki for Halloween, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. It's things like this that fall under the problematic fave category, because why did she do this? 2012 was a very pivotal year for the both of them. Nicki had already released 3 bodies of work: Pink Friday Roman Reloaded the Re-Up, and Roman Reloaded Deluxe Edition. I don't know if people have the same passion as I do for I'm Legit. Now that's a song.
I did a freestyle, then I got a shout out from Obama.
The way Nicki managed to have at least one hit from each version of the Roman Reloaded series is quite impressive. It needs to be studied. 2012 was very important for Miley because that's when Hannah Montana was over and the official rebrand started to happen. That year she starred in the movie LOL, which was the most mature project she had ever done. The best way I could describe this movie would be but framed as like a friends to lovers kind of thing, because there's no real plot. 14-year-old me had a very weird obsession with this movie, and the way I feel about it now is if you get it, you get it. In August 2012, Miley posted a picture of herself with a pixie haircut, signifying a new look in a completely new era. People were not feeling this look at all, and it ended up going viral, but not for good reasons. There were memes left and right saying she looked like Draco Malfoy, and I'm not gonna lie, they were really funny. So all of the commotion of 010 to 012 leads us to the start of their beef, which starts at the beginning of Miley's Bangerz era. Miley really wanted to shed her good girl status by leaning into a more urban image. The child star to adults symbol pipeline is nothing new, so we low-key expected it from her at this point, but we didn't think it was gonna come in this form. To create the album, she worked with popular hip-hop producers and rappers to give her that edge she really wanted musically, which was more hip-hop influences, and she specifically worked very closely with Mike Will Made It. Miley was eager to completely shift her image and sound, and what she landed on was a sound and look very similar to Nicki and also Bad Gal Riri. Speaking of Rihanna, I do have an 1.5-hour deep dive video about her that is very, very good, so go check that out once you're done watching this video. She even posted a picture on Twitter with Mike Will and Nicki in the studio, so it was very clear that the inspo was very much there. The girls were pretty cool with each other, but a collab never came from that session. However, a demo that Miley was working on called Nightmares was then reworked into a little song that I love by Nicki called The Night Is Still Young.
This what you came, this what you came for. You get what you buy, this what you pay for.
That song still causes an emotion in me that I can only describe as euphoria. By 2013, Nicki was dominating the industry for 3 years straight, and labels were searching left and right trying to find the next her. One person that was also trying to find the next big female rap superstar was her arch enemy, the queen of rap before Nicki, Lil Kim. I could get into the info about their entire beef, but then all of this becomes way too convoluted, so I'm just gonna keep it very short. Lil Kim was the main rap girl in the late 90s and the very early 2000s, but towards the end of the decade, she never kept up the same momentum as the beginning of her career. Nicki enters the scene and all eyes are on her to carry rap into the next phase from where Lil Kim left it. Things were fine at first, with Nicki constantly giving Lil Kim praise and Lil Kim showing love to Nicki. But then people and fans started pitting them against each other. Of course that was gonna happen. Not so nice words were said, diss tracks were made, and they never became cool again, at least up to this point. So Nicki found it a little sus that Miley was not only hanging out with Lil Kim, but was also in her music video Twisted, along with Lil Kim's new signed artist at the time, Tiffany Fox. So yeah, Nicki wasn't super stoked about Miley clearly taking inspo from her and hanging out with people she didn't like, but again, there was no real beef yet. We're gonna hit pause on that for a minute because we do need to talk about the Bangerz era, not only for context, but because as problematic as it was, I would say it raised a generation. Promo for this album began in March 2013 when Miley announced that her new album would be coming out later that year after signing with RCA Records about 2 months prior. She said this record would be her official debut record as an artist, so everything else y'all heard before, she's never heard of them. She doesn't know what those are. For this album, she wanted to create one that would go down in history.
My one thing was I went into the Disney Channel building and I sat down with the president of Disney Channel and I said, I want to make history. And that's what this is.
On May 19th, Miley attends the Billboard Music Awards that year, and she announces that the first single will be released in 2 weeks.
Can you give us even like the tiniest shrapnel of a clue then?
La.
I see what she did there. A week later, the artwork for We Can't Stop is unveiled on a billboard in Times Square. So from that, everyone's like, okay, she's giving us a party anthem. On June 3rd, the world was forever changed when she released the first single of the era, We Can't Stop.
'Cause we came to have so much fun now. Got somebody here might get some now.
We all knew where we were when this video dropped, and I think our hearts broke a little bit because Hannah Montana was really gone forever. We Can't Stop is one of the best pop songs to ever exist. Dare I say this is top 25 best 2010 songs of all time. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules here. The music video shows a very typical 2010s house party with everyone having an amazing time and being carefree, and also has Miley twerking, which caused a huge uproar. Critics and the general public hated this video because people thought it was too vulgar and went way too far to shed her kitty image. But as time has passed, people have come to appreciate it, especially me. This music video has everything you need for a staple 2010s music video. Lines that could be used as an Instagram caption. Very inspirational lyrics. Remember, only God can judge us. Forget the haters, cause somebody loves ya. I think she touched many lives with that one right there. And euphoric party vibes to just make you want to live life like you're young. Guys, it's true, she shifted society with this one. She low-key did though, because the video broke the record for the highest amount of views on a music video in 24 hours with 10.7 million views. August 6th, after reaching 13 million followers on Twitter, Miley reveals the album name to be Bangerz with this tweet. If you don't know why my record is called Bangerz, you'll know as soon as you hear it. Nothing but bangers. Timeline-wise, it goes single, music video, album name release, MTV performance. August 25th is the day of the infamous 2013 VMAs that would go down in history as one of the most iconic VMAs of all time. She opened up the performance with her now hit song We Can't Stop while wearing a braless bare bodysuit. Robin Thicke then joins on stage and they sing his hit song Blurred Lines with Miley now wearing a nude colored two-piece with a foam finger, and she tries to twerk on him. This was the most talked about event of all time. It literally broke the record for the most tweeted about event ever. And keep in mind that record was held by Beyonce's halftime show performance, so she made history here. Was it for the right reasons? No. Critics and the general public hated this performance and called it one of the worst performances of all time. This performance is peak comedy when you pay attention to One Direction's reaction. The cameraman had perfect comedic timing, like the boys looked very concerned here. This performance, however, did cause a lot of conversation on Miley, a white girl from Tennessee, being credited with popularizing twerking, even though it originated in West Africa and became a staple in Black culture in America way before Miley was even famous. So what do you mean she made twerking popular? The night of the VMAs, Miley releases the second single, Wrecking Ball.
I came in like a wreck.
Promotion-wise, this was genius work. Her team knew what they were doing. It was supposed to be a promo single at first, but then it was later pushed as the second official single after it started becoming more popular. The music video was released 2 weeks later, and it was even more controversial than the last. It had a nude Miley swinging around on a wrecking ball while also emotionally singing. Say what you want, she looked gorgeous in these shots. This music video broke her own record, which was then broken by One Direction, but she then broke it again with the most views in 24 hours with 19.3 million views. She was on a roll here. Mike Will Made It and P Nasty produced We Can't Stop, so they all came together again for the song 23. This is where things started getting a little sus because conversations of cultural appropriation started, and rightfully so, because this music video is absolutely insane.
I be in the club, standing on the couch, in the wolf gray, like it's my.
I'm sorry, what? hits. But I'm gonna admit, to this day, that pre-chorus still gets me every time. Put on my J's and dance a whole night away. I'm naughty by nature like I'm hip-hop hooray. Miley was not only all over pop media, but she was fully taking over rap media too. Everyone was talking about her. A month later, Bangerz is released, and it's an instant success, going #1 in the US and the UK. And it featured a lot of male rap artists and even had Miley rapping on it too. Even though it is very clear that she was heavily relying on those male features and black imagery to give her that urban image she wanted, but I can't lie, to this day it still hits. Some of my favorite songs from Miley are on this album. I can't go anywhere without playing Love Money Party.
Party ain't nothing but a party when you party every day. It ain't nothing but a party. Love, money, party.
Don't judge, you know it's good. But the song that really speaks to me to this day is for sure My Darling with Future. Although the antics to this album were very jarring, this album had range. How could we forget the masterpiece that is Drive? Listen, I don't make the rules here. This album is kind of timeless. There was one more single after the album release that was also controversial for the music video, but what's new? Chart-wise, the album was a huge success, going multi-platinum in the US and multiple countries. Reception-wise, it was kind of all over the place. People either hated the album or they really, really loved it, but all of her antics kind of ruined the image of it, so yeah. Okay, now that we have all that information, we're back at the timeline of the feud of Nicki and Miley. Miley was hanging out with Lil' Kim and even partying with her, and people seemed to draw some kind of comparison between her and Nicki because of this. Miley said in an interview, "A lot of people wanted to try to make me the white Nicki Minaj. That's not what I'm trying to do. I love hood music, but my talent is as a singer." Now, who told Miley she was gonna be the next Nicki? I need names. So before the album came out, it looked like we were just getting a more mature, sexier version of Miley, but clearly that's not all we got. She was singing and rapping just like Nicki had pretty much perfected, so by default, they both ended up dominating 2013 and 2014. 2014 is when Nicki dropped The Pink Print, and all I'm gonna say is history was made here. There are very few albums that I constantly listen to front to back every single year, and this is top 5 on that list. I definitely don't consider myself a bar, but this album changed something in me. I had to reinvent. I put the V in vent. I put the heat in vents. Man, I've been competing since. I look beyond what people say and then I see intent. Then I just sit back and decipher what they really meant. End of summer 2014, Nicki drops a second single of the era, Anaconda, and we all knew where we were when the video dropped.
Boy, toy named Troy used to live in Detroit. Bitch, stealing money, he was getting some coin.
Lives were never the same after she said those words. I kid you not, I was in middle school around this time, and it was the first week of 8th grade, so imagine the hallways the morning after we all watched the Anaconda music video for the first time the night before. Absolute chaos. The teachers didn't stand a chance. Miley and Nicki seemed to be cool because Miley changed her profile picture to the Anaconda cover art with her photoshopped on it called Hanaconda. And Nicki found all of this hilarious. By 2015, everything had changed between them, and it was all because of the VMAs that year. Miley was hosting the VMAs that year, and she was now in her Dead Pets era, so the network really wanted her for that boost in ratings since she clearly gave it to them back in 2013. The nominations for the awards come out, and Nicki's Anaconda is nowhere on the list for the biggest award of the night, Video of the Year. And this was not only shocking to Nicki, but also the general public because her video broke the record for the most views in 24 hours when it came out, and it was a key part of pop culture in 2014. So everyone was kind of thinking, what happened here? Nicki was not having this. She went on a Twitter rampage coming for the VMAs and their nominees list. And one of those nominees was Taylor Swift. Taylor saw this tweet and was thinking, now why am I in it? So they did a whole back and forth, and it ended up being a whole thing that blogs reported about online, saying Nicki and Taylor were fighting. And one of the tweets that Nicki put out, she talked about how Black women continuously move pop culture and are never recognized for it, and also came for the VMAs for only awarding thin white women. And one thing about Miley, she is gonna speak her mind. She told the New York Times how she really felt about Nicki's tweets. If you want to make it about race, there's a way you could do that, but don't make it just about yourself. Say, this is the reason reason why I think it's important to be nominated. There's girls everywhere with this body type. There was a lot more she told the New York Times, but she pretty much said that Nicki was being rude and she should be nicer if she wants to get her point across properly. And Nicki was not having that. So this now takes us to the night of the 2015 VMAs. Everyone is in attendance. Nicki opens the show with Trini Them Girls and then does The Night Is Still Young. And then as a surprise, Taylor pops out and sings it with her and they hug on stage, putting an end to their short feud. Absolutely iconic. Nicki and Taylor were now cool, but she didn't forget about what Miley told the New York Times. Nicki wins for Best Hip Hop Video that year, and she goes on stage to accept her award, and as she's giving her attendance speech, she turns to the side and says one of the most well-known lines of all time.
Back to this that had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good?
This was the craziest thing to ever happen, and what's even funnier is Miley's POV as all of this is going on.
This that had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good?
Hey, we're all in this industry. We all do interviews, and we all know how they manipulate shit. Nicki, congratulations. And
Congratulations off the top of her head, and 5 seconds is just quick thinking on her part. This exchange was all over the news, blogs, social media. Pretty much everyone in the world was talking about this moment. There were some people that weren't too fond of what Nicki did, but she doubled down by telling the New York Times that she finds it crazy that Miley doesn't want to hear about an issue affecting Black women in entertainment, but she has no problem using Black men and women as the backdrop in her videos and enjoying Black culture. A lot of people were split, feeling like Nicki was 100% valid, but others felt like she was just picking on Miley, who was way younger than her. And while both things can be true, Miley was a grown adult and knew what she was doing because she never went back to this sound and image ever again. She actually got a lot of backlash in 2017 for saying certain types of rap were incredibly misogynistic and vulgar and fell out of love with it, and everyone came for her because she had no problem using it during that era. So that made people look at Miley a little funny. By 2019, everything had changed again. Miley had done 2 rebrands from her country era to her It Girl Pop era with her 3-part EP series. She never actually finished the series, but I do have to mention my love for Mother's Daughter. On one of the songs on the EP called Catitude, Miley thought it would be a good idea to include these lines. I love you, Nicki, but I listen to Cardi. I'm a true lover of mess, because why did she do that? Remember, this was in 2019 after Nicki just finished her recent era, Queen. And one of the biggest things to come from that was her infamous beef with Cardi B, the new It Girl on the block. I know I say this a lot, but I actually mean it when I say we really don't have time to get into what happened between them. Y'all already know. But Cardi was the new shiny toy to take down Nicki after her almost 10-year run. And Cardi was sweeping up awards and breaking records left and right with her debut album, Invasion of Privacy. And this album, take me back to 2018. And the industry was pitting them against each other like clockwork, and it became this huge feud that people ended up picking sides. So Miley putting those lyrics in her song was very interesting. She did say she wasn't trying to start anything by saying that. She just meant that she loved both Nicki and Cardi's music, which... okay, and Nicki responded to this on her Queen radio show by calling Miley a Purdue chicken. And people didn't really like that because she could have just kept it about the comment instead of body shaming her. You guys remember in 2018 and 2019 where we were constantly entertained because of Nicki and her Queen radio show? I'm being so serious, take me back. Miley never responded to that, and since then they haven't really spoken about each other publicly, so who knows if they'll ever be cool again. And even though Nicki is a very polarizing and controversial figure now, her and Miley ran 2010's pop culture, and this feud will forever be remembered from the songs, looks, and public spectacles that came from it. This was so fun for me to do, and I may want to do another feud sometime in the future if I find any that are interesting enough, so let me know down below which ones you would want me to do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and watch all of my other videos. There's lots of different topics to choose from. You'll have a great time. Thank you to everyone that watches my videos, and if this is your first time here, welcome, join the party. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.